right, man, let's talk about Detroit Lions once again not playing their starters in preseason, and I think that's going to affect them coming into the regular season. You could talk about the joint practices, preventive of getting injuries and stuff, but I do think that's going to come back and bite them in the hindsight. The scrimmages versus the Jaguars, they seem to be situational scrimmages where 7-on-7s or goal line or from the 20 and, you know what I'm saying, one-on-ones. That's not football still. You know, and I feel that the Lions, you know, and I'm addressing this again, should have been playing their starters in the preseason. They should have had at least one dress rehearsal that went into the third quarter. They chose not to do so. They chose to take the safe route. I don't think Jared Goff took a snap in preseason. I haven't watched preseason a lot, but you know, he's one of them guys that's a rhythm quarterback. You know, he one of them guys that's a rhythm quarterback, which when he in rhythm, you know, he clicking. And then you just got, you know, you really gonna be dependent on Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They gonna have huge loads early on, you know, because you got to ask yourself, Josh Reynolds ain't really been able to stay healthy. Can you depend on him? And no matter how much Khalif Raymond has grown as a receiver, nobody's happy with Khalif Raymond being more than a number 4 receiver on the roster in a punt return. That's it. When he started to creep up into your starting 3 receivers, then you got a problem. You seen that year 1 in the Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell regime. Marvin Jones Jr., nice guy, played in Detroit before, but even when he was in Detroit in his prime, he had issues with getting separation between the corner and the receiver. He wasn't a receiver that created a lot of separation with his athletic ability or with his route running. He's one of those catching traffic receivers, 50-50 ball receivers. And now he comes back and he's older. That's exactly what he is. You're not really happy with him being more than your 4th receiver. You're not. So when you really depending on guys like Marvin Jones Jr., Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, David Montgomery, running in, passing, when you depending on those guys, they all new to Jared Goff. They're all new to Jared Goff. St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, and Josh Reynolds are the constants. They've been here. You know, damn near since, you know, from his first season here. Josh came in the middle of the season, but you catch my drift. So they need that rhythm. And then you talk about the defensive side of the football. The back end need to gel. There's continuity back there. And I mean, even up front. Yeah, Anzalone, Barnes know each other, you know, but then you reintegrating Levon Zorki, you reintegrating Josh Pascal, you bringing back Romeo, you bringing back, you know, a lot of those guys up front. A lot of those guys ain't played a lot of snaps together up front, especially, you know, bringing back Zorki and etc. So, and in the back end, they need to know the gel together, what the communication going to be. Do we switch this off? Do I, you know, slide down here? So it's a lot of, you know, continuity that needs to happen that only can happen in real life or real football situations. Now you can talk about one-on-ones and 7-on-7s and scrimmages and stuff. There's no simulation for live football play, and it's a recipe to get embarrassed come September 7th by the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a regime that's been together. Do they got some new pieces that they gonna be playing with this year? Absolutely. They got the DeRoss kid from Clemson who had the spinal injury surgery. That's very scary. You know what I'm saying? Chris Jones still not there, but I mean, for the most part, they core been together. They program has been successful. They can plug and play. Now they show losing Tyreek, they can plug and play. So if you don't come prepared for Kansas City, you can't get embarrassed, and that's the mission for the Lions. And secretly in the back of every Lions football fan head, they know what the hell I'm saying when I say that. They feel what I'm saying. They don't want to see the Lions get embarrassed. They want their Lions to keep it close and get a more victory. Don't nobody believe. Nobody gonna say, well, I put my life on the Lions gonna beat Kansas City. Ain't nobody stupid enough to say that. Or I put any real money on the line. We all know they was brought there to lose. They was brought there to be semi-competitive or as competitive as possible, but you still brought here to lose. It's banner night, ring night. You're brought here to lose. I think last year didn't like Chicago open it up, so they couldn't have Chicago open it up twice. That's what the Lions are there to be done. And people say, well, injuries can happen in practice. Injuries can happen in pregame warm-ups. Injuries can happen, in the first quarter versus Kansas City. They can happen. Sometimes it's really nothing that you can do about it. And they choosing to go the safe route, and people say, well, last year, they got up to I think they took the same approach last year and got up to a slow start versus Philadelphia, where I think they came out with a hot drive, and then the offense was stagnant, and then, they finally got in the rhythm, and they came up short towards the end. And defensively, they couldn't keep up with the speed of Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles until they dropped Tracy Walker in the box, and then he ended up tearing his Achilles up. I'm not sure. I think that might have been the game he tore his Achilles up. So, yes, you have to warm up. Yes, scrimmages is not enough. Yes, joint practices. No joint practices is not enough. It's not enough. With so many had they had an established program in which they had won something last year, a division, a playoff game, and they was bringing back Shark, they was bringing back Reynolds, they was bringing back Brown, they was bringing back Jamal, DeAndre Swift, and who was the tight end? Or Brock Wright, and maybe they was just sprinkling in a little Jahmyr Gibbs, sprinkling in Sam Laporta. I'd be like, okay, yeah, you can get away with that. How they've been bringing back the majority of their back end of the defense and front end? I say, yeah, you can get away with that. I would say, yeah, you can get away with that. But that's not the case. You're going to be heavily dependent on a lot of unknowns this year. And that's Jamison Williams, because you don't know we all think it's not up when it's stuck. We think it's down and it's in the ground. Jamison, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery. Them are the four guys you're going to be counting on a lot of offensively. And if they don't come to play, if 75% of those, 80%, 70% of those guys don't come to play and do their job at a high level, you have no chance at winning the division. You have no chance at nothing. So you depending on a lot of new pieces to come in and do some things. So thumbs up the video, share the video. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the link tree, find me everywhere. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.